Good day, everyone. My name is Angeli Dilar Ocampoang.
I'm Nikki Degamondano.
And I am Rime Humamoy.
We are now going to present to you our research entitled The Maxim of Relevance Paradigm in the Educational Messenger Group, a discourse analysis.
In today's world, disseminating information has become more convenient due to the availability of different social media platforms. One of these social media platforms is a messenger application. So a messenger application is a mobile application wherein the users can communicate via chat, audio, and video. That's according to Wigmore 2006. Moreover, due to the need to interact with each other during this pandemic, and as our mode of education is online learning, teachers create educational messenger group to communicate with their students. They serve as the channel for their communication. That's according to Kumsun 2018. And according to LEMZ 2020, these group chats are used in giving announcements, instructions, etc. Moreover, according to Kumsun 2018, these educational group chats serve as a helpmate for the students in resolving difficulties in distance learning. In every conversation, whether actual or virtual through social media platforms like Messenger, there are conversational maxims that must be obeyed. That's according to Grice's conversational implicature. These maxims are the maxim of quality, the maxim of quantity, the maxim of manner, and the maxim of relevance. The observance of these maxims is essential for successful communication. However, there are instances where people usually flout these maxims, whether be it in actual or in virtual conversations. In this study, the researchers will focus on the maxim of relevance. People flout this maxim by answering irrelevant response, that's according to Serlin and Martisa 2018. Moreover, according to the study of Adibola 2018, 7.4% of the maxims that are usually flouted is the maxim of relevance. If the maxims are flouted, especially the maxim of relevance, this will interrupt the conversation between the sender and the receiver. That's according to Saul 2002. Also, the flouting of the maxim of relevance could result into not getting the exact message, and which could also lead into misunderstanding. That's according to Arifin 2006. For inclusion criteria, this study will use the educational group chats of the Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English student at the University of Mindanao Tagum College in the academic year 2021 to 2022 to base the analysis. Also, the researchers will only gather the data from the educational group chats where the professors are included. Moreover, the researchers will find 25 cases of the violations of the maxim of relevance by either the teacher or the students. Also, context-based analysis will be used in analyzing the data, and later on, discourse analysis will be used. For the exclusion criteria, this study will not cover the messenger group chats that are used only by the students or the unofficial group chats. Also, the researchers will only use the messenger application from Facebook and no other messenger applications. And lastly, other programs and departments that are not from the Bachelor of Secondary Education major in English will be excluded from the study.
Review of related literature. Overall, we have four subheadings. The first one is the usage of educational messenger group. According to Kumson 2018, the blended mobile learning context is concluded as helpful to students due to difficulties that surround them in this distance learning situation. The other subheading is ways of flouting the maxim of relevance. The most common means of flouting the maxim of relevance is to answer the conversation questions with an irrelevant response or giving irrelevant statements, according to Sorlin and Martisa 2018. And the third subheading is the violations of the conversational maxims. A coding analysis of Sayafriadin 2020 had found that most students obeyed, but some students had disobeyed the conversational maxim. And the last Subheading is the reasons of flouting the maxim of relevance. Characters have violated the maxim of relevance for personal reasons. It depends on the speaker's purpose in the conversation. So many researchers state that the messenger group chats or the educational group chats has become useful tools into education, especially during the pandemic, because we cannot or the students cannot go to the school, so they use the messenger to interact with their teachers to learn something through that messenger group. And during the conversation in the messenger group, they flout the maxim of relevance. This study aims to answer the following questions. First, what are the circumstances where the maxim of relevance is flouted in the educational messenger group? Second, how do students flout the maxim of relevance in their educational messenger group? The purpose of this study is to examine how students, specifically the BS Ed English students in the University of Mindanao Tagum College, how they flout the maxim of relevance in their educational messenger group. Also, this study aims to understand the different circumstances where they flout the maxim of relevance and how they violate it. This study is anchored on Paul Grice's cooperative principle in 1975. This principle explains that during the conversation, the interlocutors should cooperate in order to have a successful communication, and the contribution must be accurate, relevant, and truthful and concise, according to Vogel, Bedoya, Potts, and Jurafsky in 2013. Also, this study is anchored on Peter's 1971 distance learning theory. It explains that during the distance learning, there should be a system where the students can still learn despite the distance from the school to their house. And we all know that these days we are using this kind of learning. But even though the students are far, they can still study with the help of books, modules, and technology.
At this juncture, I will present to you the research methodology. First is the research design. In this study, the researcher will use the qualitative discourse analysis design. This research approach is centered on examining and analyzing written and or spoken language in relation to its social context according to Lu 2020. This study is discourse analysis in nature because it will focus on analyzing the language of students in the educational messenger groups, specifically in the flouting of the maxim of relevance. Next is the research material or research instrument. The research material of this study is the educational messenger groups online, which is present with the availability of the internet access according to ALU 2020 through using or random sampling according to DROT 1969. The flouting of the maxim of relevance in a conversation will be identified according to Prayugo 2020, and then the pre-selected criteria that is relevant to the research question created. On one hand, this study's inclusion criteria will revolve around the decided educational messenger groups online that learners commonly use. On the other hand, this study's exclusion criteria will be accounted for in this study to avoid ambiguity and misunderstanding. Research Corpora. This research will be conducted by analyzing the corpora of 31 group chats of students in all year levels majoring in English according to Hanifa 2013. In this sense, the researcher will collect the same number of cases found in the messenger groups online for a better validity and reliability of the study conducted. Last but not the least, data collection. In gathering the data, the researcher will first ask the panel members for an approval by presenting the proposed study. In this sense, the researcher will know and understand the different steps in obtaining the research material. Secondly, the researcher will then ask for permission from the Dean of College of the University of Mindanao Tagum College, and if allowed, the educational messenger group as the corpora will be used. Third, the researcher will then ask for permission from the teachers and of course the students enrolled and included in this educational messenger group. Last but not the least, the researcher will then collect the data, transcribe the data, and analyze the data collected in this study. That is all. Thank you and God bless.